If you carry a firearm and discharge your weapon in self-defense, you could face hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees and expenses. So carry the protection of CCW Safe, Self-Defense Legal Services membership. Upfront payment of all criminal and civil defense costs with no out-of-pocket for members. Unlimited defense budgets, unmatched legal expertise. Carry the same level of support police officers have. Carry CCW Safe, the highest caliber.
And we're back. Welcome, everyone, to Survival Dispatch. I'm your host, John Wheaton, co-founder of the Righteous Savages and co-host here on Survival Dispatch. I also host the show on Tuesdays and Sunday nights. And tonight we have a hot one for you. Joining me in the panel is my good friend, S2, our resident intelligence officer. How are you tonight, my friend?
Doing just fine, John. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. So we got a lot to cover and some stuff that is really, really crazy in the world of illegal immigration and what the leftovers from the Biden administration is. Before we get to that, you guys, if you are interested in supporting this show, we are only made possible by viewers and supporters like you guys. So if you want more than what you're getting here for free on YouTube and Rumble, join our Insiders. Insiders is the kind of behind the scenes. It's that little extra that you get. And you know the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is that little extra. So sorry, I joke. But that is, it gives you access to the SITREP, which the SITREP is kind of like our show map. It's got all of the stuff that we're going to cover is embedded into the SITREP. You get that on a daily basis for free. And you also get access to our Signal chat, which is just absolutely insane. I've been trying to keep up with it a little bit more the last couple of days, and to no avail. You guys are just peppering information and intel in there, and it's really awesome to see all of the community being connected that way. But if that's something that interests you guys, go on over to to patreon.com/survival dispatch and sign up. $9.99 a month, or you can do $95 for the whole year. Saves you on a couple of months worth if you pay for the whole year up front. And it gives you all of those things, plus some things coming down the road, like insider only streams and things like that coming down the road for all of you guys that have decided to support us in that way. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and move to the top story. And I'm going to play a quick video. This is straight out from Savannah Hernandez. She's a freelance reporter, and she has some interesting things about Jackson Hewitt. We're going to watch this video. It's about a 2-minute video, but it's a report on I caught Jackson Hewitt employees coaching illegals on how they could get up to $14,000 in tax refunds, whether they're working or not. Perhaps figuring out who is receiving tax refunds is the next thing for Elon Musk to look into. So let's watch this video real quick, and then we'll get a quick reaction to it. This is definitely alarming stuff.
We do this stuff like this, like at all the shelters and stuff. But like our company, this is why we try to help people by, providing them with refunds,
This is Savannah Hernandez in front of the Roosevelt Hotel in New York City. Now, we wanted to come check in on the migrant crisis. And as we were walking around, we saw a Jackson Hewitt table out here with an employee who was handing out this flyer. Now, what this flyer says is working or not, file your taxes and we can get the maximum refund for your family. And the paper says that if you have one child, you can get over $7,000 in a refund. And if you have up to 3 children, you can get over $14,000. So the Jackson Hewitt employee who initially handed me this paper, after finding out I was a journalist, took the paper away. That's why this one's so dirty, because a migrant ended up giving me another copy. And he stated that if he's put on camera and this goes out, that legal will have to get involved.
We do this stuff like this, like at all the shelters and stuff. But like our company, this is why we try to help people by, providing them with refunds,
So you guys are trying to help the migrants with their taxes then,
Yes.
to help them get refunds,
Yes.
help them get some money back from the government.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, we're just going to go try to talk to them.
Can't put my footage.
Can we take one of your papers, though, just so we can kind of... Thank you.
Actually, you should just take this one because this one has my office information, and so therefore legal would have to get involved. So that's
okay. So just wanted to give you guys an idea of, again, what migrants have been told in New York City. Now that tax season is coming up, they are being given official flyers from Jackson Hewitt themselves on how to file their taxes. We have the Trump administration that is currently in office, and they have been promising mass deportations. But in sanctuary cities like New York, where you've had over 200,000 illegal immigrants make their way to this area, the crisis is very much alive and well. Now, this shelter behind me is actually set to close in June, but you have another shelter that was just opened up in the Bronx with 2,200 beds specifically for single migrant men. So the crisis very much alive here in New York City that has already spent $7 billion on migrants over the last couple of years. Wanted to give you guys an update as of March 2025, where we're currently at with it.
Okay. So it looks like there are companies, and I'm not sure if it's just Jackson Hewitt, but some people that are coaching illegals through the process of getting tax refunds. And obviously that's an alarming thing, considering that most of these illegals, and we'll get into this in a minute, most of these illegals are getting cash under the table if they're working a job at all. A lot of them are living off of the government dime, like in New York City. So S2, what is your kind of snap reaction to that?
Well, another thing that they're doing too, and it's been kind of widespread, is they've been doing, you'll have these people out there that'll create accounts for Uber and DoorDash and things like that. And they will actually pay the illegals to run these orders for them. So they're actually running under the original creator's name, but they might have like 10 people out there running orders for them or picking up rides and taking them somewhere if they've somehow managed to get a hold of a vehicle. I don't know how they managed to do that because, number one, it's illegal, or pardon me, unlawful to hire illegal aliens in this country. It is punishable by fines and prison time if you do that. I know it happens all the time. I've managed concrete crews a long time ago, before I got into my current profession, and I know what they do. They come here. At least this used to be their MO. Is they would come here and they would make money, but they would send it back home they would send a portion of that back home to Western Union and keep just enough that they needed to live on here in the country. But they would rent a house, usually 4 or 5 families in one house all at the same time. Which again leads me to the question of who is renting them houses, because most of the time now these days you can't even rent an apartment without having a credit check run on you. If you're not from this country, you don't have a credit history in this country. So we also know that there have been scrupulous people out there that have been basically renting out. They've been kicking people out of their buildings and renting their rooms out to illegals because the government was going to pay them for that. So I guess my question now is, what's going to happen now that the money that the government's been paying to these people is getting cut off? But the thing that irks the crap out of me most out of this is how is Jackson Hewitt teaching these people to skirt Internal Revenue Service law? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, right. Well,
because they can't even be paying taxes. They're not paying into the damn system. They can't.
Right. Exactly. Well, Jasmine Crockett disagrees with us too. So let's watch this 17-second video. Apparently, illegals are actually paying a lot of taxes. So let's watch this.
To be clear, undocumented folk contribute approximately $100 billion in taxes. They pay into Social Security and they don't get to draw down on it. So stop, again, allowing them to divide us and to demonize them.
Is that like Common Core math that she's using there? I honestly, well, let me go to this next one real quick, and then we'll discuss that. Because I found this, and this is a little bit of an older post, but I verified this through just looking online and doing some research really quick. The rich should pay their fair share. This is always the quote. The top 1% of taxpayers paid 48% of taxes, and the top 10% pay 72% of the taxes. The bottom 40% of income tax filers pay no net income tax at all. Does anybody want to take a guess on what being in that bracket that is responsible for paying 100% of the taxes? Essentially, what is the cutoff for being in the top 60%? And I'll tell you, it's $101,000 a year. As to how many illegals are making and filing and claiming $101,000 per year in income.
Well, if they're
it's
here,
a low number.
If they're here, well, maybe not. If they're here partaking of drug trafficking, human trafficking, illicit behaviors like that, it's very possible they could be making over $100,000, but they haven't even. But they're not. I guarantee you, that's not money they're reporting to anybody.
Correct, and that's the big key. That is the crux of this whole thing. The whole way to dismantle this argument that Democrats like to push out is because it falls apart when you actually ask, how are these people paying taxes when they're not lawfully employed in most cases. A lot of these guys get paid cash under the table by a work crew or something like that, which is a whole nother can of worms to open up. But this is not something that is just, this is not, they don't report this income. As you said earlier, a lot of them are sending this income home. They're living at bare minimum means to make it, and they're supporting families back in Mexico. So
wherever else they came from.
Yes. And, it's a sense that these gang members that are coming over are not actually employed with anybody because of the amount of crime that they're committing to get money. So, but we all know the answer to all of this is that it's really the Democratic Party voting importation. And so real quick video. This is actually from Savannah Hernandez as well, but just showing what New York, this is the Roosevelt Hotel.
No, it's not.
And many of them have their hotels paid for or their housing paid for by the taxpayers in New York. This is something that they're doing at a state level.
I'll make a comment on that. The state would have to be doing that because the federal government is not doing it anymore.
Correct.
There was a big scandal about that because the Roosevelt Hotel is owned by the Pakistani government now, and they've cut that funding off.
Yep. So this is just a piece of what has happened over the last 4 years. How this is criminal behavior by the former administration and many other administrations as well, going all the way back to the Obama administration and the amnesty that was provided under Bush, all of this kind of stuff with the Gang of Eight and trying to allow these illegal immigrants to become citizens. And we know that this is really, as Elon Musk just put down on that, this is importation of Democratic voters. And as they see these people start to be deported, and if we deport enough of them, I would say that we're going to see a significant drop in the amount of votes that the Democrats can get. It's rather crazy to think about the fact that, and there's other things that we're getting ready to get to as well, that the Democratic Party thinks that you, the American taxpayer, can foot the bill for people that broke the law to come into this country. They're already criminals. Whether violent or non-violent, it doesn't matter. They broke our law, and we are footing the bill for them. And it's just insane to me. So what are your thoughts on that?
I don't really have anything beyond that to say, other than I wonder how many of the people that work at that hotel, wonder how many of them drive Teslas.
Right. Yeah, exactly. We'll get to the Tesla terrorists here in a little bit, but yeah, that's an amazing story that keeps developing, it seems like. So And here's another one. This is Scott Turner, the HUD secretary. Today, HUD terminated Biden's taxpayer-backed FHA mortgages for illegal aliens. American taxpayers will no longer subsidize open borders by offering home loans to those who are entering the nation illegally. And there's a couple of other things on this. If you guys have the sit rep, this is why you need the sit rep, because you can read some of the other comments below and some of the supporting documentation that's in there. But this is a big deal because this was a Biden administration policy and change that they were moving to give illegals FHA loans. If you know what an FHA loan is, it doesn't require a very large down payment. And because we were giving a lot of these immigrants, so you think of like the town in Ohio, Springfield, Ohio, where they were giving these people tens of thousands of dollars in subsidies and government handouts so that they could rent places, buy cars, do all this stuff. Well, then it would be easy to come up with $5,000 or $6,000 to put down on a house. And then it's FHA is a government-backed loan, not fully backed like a VA loan, but it is a government-backed loan that is meant for lower income people. But you have to have a social security number. You have to have proof that you can make the payments on the house that you're buying. So when anybody that's ever gotten a mortgage knows this, you have to have proof that you are employed. They have to know how much you make so that they can actually verify that you could make the payment on the house, and all of this other red tape that you have to jump through as an American citizen. But now they're cutting away all of these regulations. They'll do it for illegal immigrants, but they won't do it for us, the people that actually have skin in the game in this country. So this is absolutely insane. And I'll play this video and then we can react to it. This is I think this lady probably has most of our sentiments in this. About a 4-minute video, won't play the whole thing, but I kind of agree with this for sure. Nope.
Earlier today, I think it was, that per the president's instructions, he is stopping a HUD program that funded FHA loans for illegal aliens. Are you shitting me right now, bro? What is this, comedy hour? Are you serious? So not only were they getting Section 8 housing, kicking American citizens off the Section 8 list, putting them down at the way bottom, the back of the bus, giving them the Rosa Parks treatment. These bastards were over here, just got here, ain't never paid into the system, can't get a job because they can't get work permits because they're illegal. You got to be kidding me. How did they get home loans? How did they get home loans that American citizens cannot qualify for? Because we've been up in this bitch for the last 4 years while Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have waged economic warfare against us. So, we couldn't qualify for any of these high interest ass loans, but they've been getting FHA. How did they get approved? They don't have social security numbers.
Yes, they do.
How did they
Legally,
get in housing with no credit history? How did they get FHA loans? Y'all done stole people's identity. How did you Jimmy rig the system? And y'all want to whine about federal employees losing their jobs? I was a federal employee. I know they don't do shit. Give me a break. Y'all want to whine about that? Losing my job and my daycare, my kids. Shut up. Bitch, learn the code. Are you kidding right now? So they've been.
I'll stop it there. Go on, if you have the sit rep, go in there, watch the whole thing. She just goes off for like 4 minutes. It's incredible and amazing, and I think we all feel the same way. How in the heck does this happen? When we have to jump through every hoop known to man and do all this stuff, especially if you're a honest, hardworking American that makes not a great income, but a decent income enough for you to, afford a house, maybe a couple of used cars, and maybe be able to pay for your kids to be a part of sports or something like that. But don't, you're not breaking the breaking the bank with all the income you have. And we go to buy a house, and it's hey, jump through all these hoops, jump over all these hurdles, maybe get a family member who has a little bit more money than you to come up with the 3% so you guys can buy a house and get out of renting, so you actually can build your net worth and all this kind of stuff. It's sickening, and it just goes to show you that we don't hate politicians and elites and the swamp enough. I'll turn the floor over to you, S2.
Yeah. So she's saying how they get social security numbers. I'm going to say it was probably about 3 weeks after this whole crap started with them flooding the borders. We had some insiders inside the Social Security Administration that had gotten us information directly, basically letting us know that they were giving them social security numbers up in Michigan. So we found out about that. Once they're able to get social security numbers, they can go anywhere in the country and they can get a work permit. That's kind of the way it was working. But they all seemed to wanted to flock to New York because they knew they were going to have no problems getting work permits there. As far as buying a house, well, they have a social security number. If they can prove that they're working or they have some sort of an income, some kind of verifiable income, well, then they can do that if you have a crooked administration, which is what we did. Now, the dark end of this, or I should say the darker end of this, is that if they didn't have verifiable income and they gave them those loans anyways, which is very obvious they did, if they knew at some point that there was the possibility these people could be deported, then the bank can foreclose on that property and basically turn around and land grab that property.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So then we had the other folks. We had the other folks down in I forget what part of Texas it is. They basically started up a whole community down there where they were giving private loans to illegals down there, and they knew that if they were unable to pay for it, they could foreclose on the property and basically keep whatever money they had invested in that property and throw them out, start over again.
Yep. It's just it's like a mob type crime boss situation that the last administration was, and really the entire Democratic Party. It's run like a mob boss.
Yeah, and by the way, the mob boss down in Texas is Greg Abbott. He was involved. He was an investor in that land scheme.
Yeah. Okay, so real quick, we will watch this guy who has he has some advice for if an ICE agent's coming to take you and your family. We might need to contact the FBI after we watch this.
At ICE agents on site. That's right. Shoot at ICE agents on site. That's right. If ICE agents are trying to take you or a loved one, shoot them on site. The way they're pulling up with masks on, with unmarked vehicles, no badge, no nothing, it could be anybody. It can be gang members. You have every right to shoot at them. This would be the best self-defense case. You're just in fear for your life. You don't know who's behind that unmarked vehicle or who's behind that mask. This is ridiculous. What is our country coming to? Why would you want to be an ICE agent anyway? Do you like separating kids from their parents? Do you like deporting students that are studying? I can understand deporting a gang member or criminals, but innocent people, it's ridiculous. The way these ICE agents are pulling up with masks on, unmarked vehicles, they are pulling up like gang members. They are pulling up like the mafia. You might as well shoot them on sight and have your day in court. Take care, guys. Now I'm out.
It's not going to work out that way, Jose.
No, it is not. But some people are taking the advice. This is New Mexico. Republican Party headquarters in New Mexico set on fire and vandalized overnight.
Yep, I saw that.
ICE equals KKK on the side of the building. So this is really the next phase of this is to and the reason there are multiple reasons why ICE agents are disguising themselves and wearing masks is because the media is no friend of ICE agents and they don't want to be doxxed while they're just doing their job. A lot of these are everyday people that go home to a wife and kids in a suburban neighborhood and They don't want to be doxxed by the media. And also, they're also dealing with gang members and drug cartel members. Those guys will find you and unalive you real quick with a tire around your neck and a gallon of gasoline. Like, that's the kind of people you're dealing with.
It's also standard practice and direct action, things like this, just for that reason, like you say. And they don't roll up with no ID on. They have ICE on their jackets. I've seen it. So, yeah, it's not gonna work out that way. When you've got one guy that they're trying to deport, that they're trying to get out of a place, and you've got 10 ICE agents walking in there along with local SWAT guys. Yeah, it's not going to work out too good for you if you start shooting at them.
Right. Right.
You'll be sent back home in a casket.
Yep. 100%. And that's not the only invasion that we're dealing with. And this is the one that we've talked about a lot. So we kind of have a two-pronged thing here that just goes to show, man, we're trying to undo something that was almost to the level of undoable, like almost impossible to undo. And if we had not won in November, it would have been impossible to undo. So real quick, thousands of Muslims gather for prayer in Times Square, New York City. Comments are full of people calling for America to become a Muslim country. Posted by Way of Life Square and Servant of Allah. Let's watch this video. It's about 49 seconds. This is probably some of the more terrifying stuff that I've seen.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah.
This is disgusting.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله.
I'm not going to watch any more of that. You guys get the idea. This is in one of the largest cities in the country. Like, they're showing up by the thousands, and they're basically praying to Allah that America become a Muslim country. We've already been invaded by large amounts of immigrants from Somalia, looking to Michigan, all of this kind of stuff. This is the playbook, guys. And I've been talking about this really since the beginning of when I first started being a guest and host on Survival Dispatch. And I know that Chris has and everyone else has as well. This is the end game for them, to spread a worldwide caliphate and to basically take control of politics. Because one thing that Islam does not do is differentiate between church and state at all. So it is a theocracy for sure. And we can get into debates on that too. And I have my own personal ideas on those kind of things as well. But let's look at this next slide, and then I'll give S2 a chance to comment here. So this is, Wake Up America. The Islamic domination of the West. Pretend to be a refugee in order to gain access to your chosen country. Play the minority card while you are populating at a scale more than 5-1. This is what I talk about. They come in and then they outbreed the indigenous populations, no matter where it's at. So in a matter of 20, 30 years, they have more people. Infiltrate politics and call others racist and bigots if they don't agree with you. Okay. Squad, calling the squad. That's their tactics. Implement a watered-down version of Sharia law with the help of the leftists. Kill all those who do not submit to Islam and dominate every Western country. Open your eyes, look around, take notice. This is not a joke. This is reality. This is, yep. I'm going to post this here from Lenny. We have allowed this cancer into our country. 100%. 100%. In my opinion, this is even more dangerous than a lot of the illegal gangs coming in from the over the southern border, because this is not about money. This is about ideology and breaking down our country. S2, I'm going to give you a chance to respond.
Yeah, Islam is not a religion. It is an ideology.
Mm-hmm.
And this post here pretty much kind of spells it out. They have two phases of this. One is the Mecca, where they come in and they seem weak and there's not that many numbers of them, but as soon as they get their numbers start going, then they start implementing the number 3 through 5 steps in there, and that's when they become the Medina, which is their numbers are great and their power is strong. And that's when you start seeing all kinds of crap going on. It's the same thing that happened in India when they pushed out the Hindus.
Yep. Well, and I mean, we can go back to the 6th, 7th, 8th century to show the conquest of Islam, the Ottoman Empire, the ancient empires that conquered Alexandria and all of these other places, and burned the libraries, burned all of the history, and only fractions of that actually made it out. And it's an ideology that's meant on control, raping and pillaging, and taking control of those who are weak enough to let you in without pushing back. You know, the whole thing about the Crusades. That's what the
also
Crusades.
one of the reasons. That's also one of the reasons why I keep wondering why our government won't designate the Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist organization group.
Mm-hmm.
They need to be expelled from this country. There is well documented information that they have been here funding, raising money and funding Hamas and Hezbollah and all these other folks. They need to be ejected from this country, all of them.
Yep, absolutely. And if we don't, it's the analogy that I use often of it's like we're letting a baby boa constrictor continue to wrap itself around you, and then it grows up. And once it gets to a certain size, you can't break it free. You can't break free of it, and it kills you. And that's what we're dealing with. But hey, do you know that it is Mother's Day? Today is Mother's Day in England. And what do you guys think that Keir Starmer put out? Let's see what Keir Starmer said. As the holy month of Ramadan ends, I wish the Muslims in the UK across the world blessed and joyful. And I don't know how to pronounce those words, but they're Muslim words, so it is what it is. And he never posted a happy Mother's Day to British people, anything. They are way ahead of us down this road, guys. We are England 5 to 6 years ago, in all honesty. And they let the snake in, and they let the snake wrap around them. And now, as we'll see in some of these upcoming videos that I'm going to show you, they have infiltrated government in multiple large metropolitan areas in England. Any comments on this before we go to the next video?
Well, the problem is that we have a bunch of cucks in government around the world that have allowed this, and they think that somehow by playing ball with these people that they're going to be spared. They're not going to be spared. They don't understand how this operates.
Yep, absolutely. It's 100% true. So the the reality of what's going on in England is perfectly spelled out in this video, a minute and 19 seconds.
The mayor of London is Muslim. The mayor of Birmingham is a Muslim. The mayor of Leeds is Muslim. The mayor of Blackburn is Muslim. The mayor of Sheffield is Muslim. The mayor of Oxford is a Muslim. The mayor of Luton is a Muslim. The mayor of Oldham is a Muslim. The mayor of Rochdale is a Muslim. All of this was achieved by only 4 million Muslims out of the 66 million people in England. Today in England, there are over 3,000 mosques. There are over 130 Sharia courts in England, and there are more than 50 Sharia councils. 78% of Muslim women do not work and receive state support and free accommodation. 63% of Muslims do not work and receive state support and free housing. State-supported Muslim families have an average of 6 to 8 children who all receive free accommodation. Every school in the UK is required to teach about Islam. The number one most common baby name in England is Muhammad. This is not immigration. This is invasion.
S2. Are you muted? You there? I think you're muted.
Yeah, no more words on that one.
Perfectly spelled out and terrifying. Here's another question I have. England won't teach Christianity in school, but they'll teach Islam.
What's the question? What the fuck?
Right, exactly. What's supposed to be, we're not supposed to have religion in schools, right? I mean, that's the new modern leftist view of everything. No religion in school, separation of church and state, blah, 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 blah. And it's even more insane in England. And at the same time that they're letting this infiltration happen, this is going on. This next slide is mind-blowing. The United Kingdom has now made it law that if you're white and commit the same crime as a non-white, you'll be sentenced to a longer prison term than non-whites. Within 10 years, they'll likely require to pay jizya, which is a tax for those of you that don't know. A lot of Islamic countries, if you're a Christian, if you're not of the ethnicity of the country, you pay a tax, essentially. That's how they've essentially been able to, first through violence and then through non-violence, because it's not necessarily good for the modern age for people to see all of these violent acts. They just tax these religions out of existence and these ideologies. And that's another part of the playbook for radical Islam. Let's watch this. It's 2 minutes and 31 seconds. And Keir Starmer is wringing his hands and talking about, how he does not agree with this. I agree with this last statement, though. The UK has fallen, and it will continue to fall.
Well, I'm disappointed in this response, and the Lord Chancellor is obviously continuing to engage on this, and we're considering our response. All options are on the table, but I am disappointed at this outcome, and now we'll have to consider what we do as a result.
Well, let's cross live to our political editor, Christopher Hope. Now, it seems to me, Chopper, that the politicians want the Sentencing Council to change their direction here, but they're not willing to legislate to do so. They're in a bit of a war of words here.
Yes, they are. And hi, Charlie. Hi, Nana. Welcome to Huddersfield, where it's pretty cold up here. I've been talking to the Prime Minister moments ago. I asked him twice, will you just scrap the Sentencing Council? It's a quango. You have the power to scrap it. What you don't do is have the power to overrule it. And frankly, the judges now are looking back at the elected politicians here, both Sir Keir Starmer and Shabana Mahmood, who is a Justice Secretary, and saying, I'm afraid to say, these are what's going to happen. And from Tuesday, this is what will happen. Judges will prepare pre-sentencing reports where necessary. And if someone is of ethnic, cultural, or faith minority, or a young person under 25, or a woman, or a pregnant woman, they will get a special sentencing report. Normally, those pre-sentencing reports do mean that the sentence is mitigated, that time is taken off for a jail term, for example. What it means, though, is that white men are going to be treated a lot tougher by judges from Tuesday compared to other groups in society. And that is unacceptable to the Prime Minister. He said in terms that...
I don't believe that one bit that it's unacceptable to the Prime Minister, but they basically spelled it out. There's only one thing left after he went through all of those criteria. White men over 21. It's just nuts to me. Absolute nuts. What are your thoughts on that?
I think all the young white men over in England need to sign up for the military. That's what I think.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what. It's a strange
Get your free
world. we live
training.
in.
Get your free training while you can.
Yep. And the OG on sounding the alarm in England, who has been jailed so many times, and this is an older clip, but I thought it was very, very fitting to play this clip. I think this is from several years ago when Tommy Robinson was out of prison, one of his many prison terms, and he appeared on Piers Morgan. So let's watch this real quick because we have been warned. Well, S2, you want to speak a little bit more to that of like what he's actually stating and what we need to do about this.
He's stating the truth. You know, everything that I know about the Quran says nothing but convert or kill. Muhammad was a self-professed pedophile. And there's nothing, this is not a religion. This is an ideology, as I've said before. And Piers Morgan is probably going to be one of the first ones to go because he's so stupid. Everybody that talks like this is stupid. They've been bought off.
Yep. 100%. 100%. Useful idiots, as Lennon would call them.
I've been telling people for years and years and years, the more of this crap you tolerate, the more of it you're going to get, and the more of it you get, the worse it's going to get. And it's happening here in the United States right now.
Yep. 100%. 100%. Okay. Insurrection Barbie. All of the horrible things that you're seeing in England, just know we are one election away from this having that happen. 2024 was a reprieve, but if we do not continue the fight and go vote like we should, like if you are in Wisconsin right now, and we'll get to that in a little bit, for instance, or in Florida, that is coming here next time we lose. And that's very true. A lot of people want to rest on their laurels and sit back and chill, but we can't do that. We can't do that because it is right now is the time to move forward, to sound the alarm, to do the things that we need to do to make this permanent. And I'm not saying that people of Muslim faith can't live here and all of that kind of stuff. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the ideology of the people that are coming over is to infiltrate and take over. This, honestly, I'm just going to say it. This is a Christian nation. It was founded on Judeo-Christian values. You can reference biblical principles throughout all of the founding documents. There is one thing that does not mix with Islam, and that's Christianity and Judaism. It does not. And one of those have been the aggressor against the other two. People always cite the Crusades. The Crusades were a defensive war, guys. They were not. It was not an offensive war. It was conducted offensively after the Islamic armies moved into Europe and were trying to take over Europe. It's simple history, but if they had not done that, then Europe would have been taken over centuries ago. Well, it has been taken over now. All of these countries, France, the Netherlands, Germany, Canada, England. Yeah, that's the other thing. Our northern friends are full of this stuff too. And this is something to be taken seriously and something to do something about. And we do it by voting, by doing the things that we need to do to put the people in that are going to step up and defend the country and the founding of this country. But that's it for chapter 1. And I think it's a very somber thing. Go ahead, S2, closing thoughts.
Make a few more comments on this.
Yep, absolutely.
So I'm sure that everybody in our audience knows this, but everybody in our audience needs to tell everybody they know, their family members, their friends, the people they work with. You need to tell these people, okay, great, Trump won. Put away the freaking party dresses and the ball gowns. Now the party is over. The real work starts. The real work started the day after the congressional address. Now the real work gets started. We have to continue to move forward. Everybody needs to get out and they need to vote, because if you don't vote and we lose this thing, it's going to go kinetic. I promise you it is. It may go kinetic regardless, but you have a better opportunity of preventing it if you get out there and do things the right way.
Yep.
We have calls in this country right now. I'm sure a lot of people have seen this, that there are credible threat alerts being put out for things. I wrote a brief on this January 15th about potential imminent attacks in the United States. I haven't seen anything that's credible as far as imminent goes, but I have seen quite a few things of planning for attacks in this country. So
Yep.
if you don't want things to go kinetic and you want to have the opportunity to prevent this, you need to get out and talk to everybody you know and have these conversations.
Yep. That's 100% true. And if we don't have these conversations, we're going to regret not having these conversations, or our children are. But I don't even know if we have that long.
Well, I would say for everybody listening right now, you need to be paying attention to what's going on in your neighborhoods, because what I have seen over the last 20 years is almost every neighborhood that I've ever lived in, with the exception of the one that I'm in right now, and it's starting here now, is they have come in and they have taken over small suburban neighborhoods, and they begin this way. So start watching what's going on in your neighborhood and say, no, it's not happening here.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. We actually had a live stream for Righteous Savages on Saturday morning with Keith Graves from Christian Warrior Training. Did a co-stream with him, and we talked about this, and he told a story because quick history on Keith. He's been on Survival Dispatch many times. He's former LAPD cop. If you're LAPD, you know gang-related activity, tattoos, all of that kind of stuff, especially if you're a SWAT cop, which is what he was. And he lives in Idaho now. And he was in one of his favorite restaurants in Idaho, and he saw a guy walk in with gang tattoos on, older Mexican guy. And he went up to him and confronted him. And the guy left. But he said, I had to send a clear message, not here. You may get away with that in Los Angeles. You're not getting away with that here. And that's the kind of boldness that we have to have. If we don't have that boldness, then our kids are going to pay the price. And that's a scary and sad thought. So, but that wraps up chapter 1. And thank you guys for listening. We are going to do a quick sponsor video, and we'll do this from Flex Industries, which is great triggers and make great triggers. But watch this video, and then we'll be right back.
AK Flex. AK Flex. The crazy part about this thing, it can fit in all platforms. This right here is in a 9mm. We run it in the 7.62, 5.45, short, even in the Draco, the long 16-inch. AK Flex, baby.
Yep, the AK Flex from Flex Industries, great trigger. If you use the code SD17, you get 17% off your orders there. They're a great sponsor of the channel, so check them out at flexindustries.com. All right, moving into chapter 2, and this is where we kind of broaden out the news from just our main topic is, and we talk about just the news as it's rolling in and some key stories here. So we'll start off with maybe, I think definitely good news, and that is that President Trump has halted $120 million in federal grants to Planned Parenthood per the Wall Street Journal. Good. No more taxpayer-funded abortions. Thank goodness. I am all for that. So
I don't know that that's going to help much. I think it'll help some, because we've learned over the last couple of years all of the activities that Planned Parenthood's been involved in with selling human parts essentially to colleges and things like that. So they're getting a lot of their money from colleges and private donors.
Yep.
So I think it sends a clear message, but I don't think it's going to bankrupt them unless what they're doing isn't stopped and essentially arresting every single person within that organization that contributes to this problem.
No. Yep. No, I agree. It is, any life saved is worth it to me. So anything that money prevents, whether it be a few thousand abortions or whatever, it's a win for me because life is precious. But I understand the bigger monster is not going to be tamed overnight at all. So
I guarantee you, if you called some of these executives to the floor of Congress, you're taking federal money. You call them to the floor in Congress and say, "What are you using this money for?"
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Put a shot across their bow.
Absolutely. Put it in the public eye. Daylight is the best disinfectant for sure of this crap. So here's an interesting, and this is getting into the Tesla terrorism, which is still ongoing, protests nationwide and, real grassroots things. But this is a segment from Joe Rogan that where he talks about what's actually going on here. And then we have some evidence to back this up. This is very interesting.
They claimed there was 30,000 people, but they got all the cell phone data and they found out there was 24,000 cell phones. So they fudged it a little bit. That sounds normal. But they also said that a huge number of these people had been to 20 plus events and a lot of other different progressive events. And it seems like, at least on some of them, for sure, they were paying people. So they're giving people money to get on a bus, go to this place, here's your sign, go have fun. And so you're doing something different, right? You're pretending that these people are all coming out to see you, but they're coming out to see you because you're giving them money and free food.
Right.
And, you handed out water bottles and everybody gets a sign and everybody seems like they're kind of a part of a team. And for a lot of losers, a lot of people that don't have things going well in their life. And what do we, I was a loser at many points in my life. If somebody called me up and said, "Hey man, you want to make $400 and just go to this Kamala Harris rally?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's go." I would 100% go. I would 100% go with no political. And then I'd probably think she's cool. I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm fucking voting for her, dude. He's Hitler. That guy, we gotta stop Hitler." And I'd be holding up that stupid sign.
Yeah, and those are the people they he said it. He's like, "I was a loser at one point in my life, and when I was a loser, this is what I do." So this kind of gives you an indication of who they're actually attracting as losers, right? S2.
Yeah, well, what he's actually talking about is the AOC and Bernie Sanders rally.
Yep.
That they had, where they claimed they had 35,000 people come in, and just like they said, I think it was Paul Sarugan that got a hold of the GPS location data, and that's where they found out that I think it was 4 out of every 5 people that were there had been to a Kamala Harris rally or some other sort of progressive liberal activity.
Yep. Well, and here's the crux of the whole thing. Somebody was able to get a picture of the protesters with the chants that they're supposed to do, all lined out. They're just organic protest, and just it's I don't know what everybody's working all worked up about. Are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
So, but they do some very entertaining things. I
hope that redhead's a dude.
Just psychos. And for other people,
there's the joy.
Yeah, it's the joy. And then very badly choreographed dance.
All right, now they need to be sued for this. They're just screwing up the dirt scoot boogie thing. I mean, come on.
But if you want to know how to deal with them, this is how you deal with them. And this is fantastic.
Get off my fucking car! You touch that shit again, I will break your fucking face.
Okay, come on, bring it on. Bring it on. Fuck you, Nazi. Fuck you, Nazi. Go fuck yourself.
I love you.
Yay! Or a
Shame! 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 If you only want.
I feel very, very sorry for you. He's just a little man. Little man. You know what? Good for you. Just about. We need you out of the road, please.
That old lady that was right there, just there.
Mm-hmm.
She's been at other Tesla protests because I've seen her.
There were a couple of people in the comments of that video that actually pointed that out. So very, very crazy. It's also dangerous. The lengths of which these leftists are going to. This next video is very, very.
Somebody's going to get hurt.
Disturbing. Watch this next video. Let me get to it. This is insane.
Hi, TikTok. Hi, Live. Yeah, go ahead. Go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself.
You're not paying attention.
I'm paying attention to you.
I can do it too. You fucking
Hey, you Joe Biden looking motherfucker. You suck my dick, you fucking faggot. You faggot. Oh, God. Johnny, he just hit somebody. Johnny.
Well, you should stop and pull over and make sure they're okay.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody, but let me back this up just a little bit. You can clearly see he's not paying attention. And there's a kid on a bike and a lady on a scooter. And he just runs and knocks the lady over. I don't think there were any serious injuries. This is the kind of crap that this ideology bull crap and these little sniffling leftists want to do. Just absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts. And they're still doing the keying stuff.
And you know, the funny thing about all of this is they think they're hurting Elon with this.
No, they're not. And here's the ironic thing. S2. Maybe speak to this for a second. What was the demographic of Elon Musk's customers 7-8 years ago? Left-leaning.
Yeah.
Left-leaning people, hippies, and the climate jihad people buying Teslas. So it was people of the left. So ironically, what they're going to do is even people that are not far left, they get their cars keyed by a leftist. What do you think that does to their political ideology?
Oh, it's completely blown everything out the door. It's basically shown them. It's basically shown that they will switch uniforms for whatever cause they're being paid to change uniforms for.
Absolutely,
because I can almost guarantee you that these keying events and things like this that are going on is just the same game that they ran during the 2020 election, where they paid people to stuff ballots but they had to take a picture of the drop box where they dropped the ballots in. I almost guarantee you that's what's going on there.
Yeah. So here's some leftists doing the old 1960s die-in or whatever it is. So Manhattan Tesla store.
Now, this is an old video.
But just absolutely nuts. But I don't think this is going to stop until they find the next thing that they want to protest or they want to fund to take down. But
Well,
yeah,
the nice thing about them laying in the middle of the road like that, they're obstructing a thoroughfare, and the cops could come in there and just easily just grab a few buses and come in there and arrest all of them.
yep, yep. So that's what we have on Tesla so far. It's obviously still an ongoing story that's going on. Another big story that's happening is Mario Nawfal. He actually just put this out. Elon, 40% of Social Security calls are from fraudsters. Doge is fixing it. They're stealing people's Social Security number. They call in, pretend to be retirees, and reroute the money to themselves. Doge's response: more in-person verification, tighter data protections, and full overhaul of outdated system vulnerable for abuse. The mission: stop the theft, protect retirees, and finally clean up the system.
And
What are your
make the
thoughts on that?
systems and make the systems talk to each other. That's been the
Yes.
problem with the federal government and state governments, for that matter, for many years. I mean, let's just take the IRS systems for instance. They're running on COBOL. You know, that programming language that I learned in high school. I'm considerably older than you. I learned it in high school. And they're
Yep.
still running that. They're still running that system on that. They're still running stuff on Unix mainframes. I mean, really?
Yeah. It's crazy how antiquated. Well, what's crazy to me as too is how much money the government spends and waste, and they don't upgrade anything.
Well, the problem is what they've done is they get somebody in some department out there, and they hire their buddy's company on to come in and do these upgrades, and they get a contract for it. Well, there's no incentive for the company to actually complete the program on time, so the ends up going over budget on those things. And the actual contractors that are doing the work, they sit there and they milk those contracts because that's how they stay employed. So
Yep.
they run over budget and the contracts never end because there's no performance bonus at the end for completing the job on time and on or under budget. That's
Right.
how it works.
Yep. 100%. It's a racket.
I know two of those companies that I legitimately worked for. One of them was Lockheed Martin. Same thing.
No surprise. No surprise.
I mean, I worked my butt off. In fact, I made all of in the departments that I worked in, I made all of my systems self-healing. That was what I did. And I'm like, my work is done here.
Mm-hmm. But the problem is there too many people willing to suckle off the government teat, whether it be through contract work or numerous other little loopholes that people find, and the government's not smart enough and not efficient enough to actually find these things and to get rid of them. So, obviously people are going to continue to do this stuff until it is stopped, until it is actually nipped in the bud and not allowed to continue. It's
oh, dude. I mean, even the whole freaking government retirement process is a joke. Everything in the government retirement process is done by hand on paper, and it's stored in a freaking cave up in Pennsylvania. Literally stored in a cave. And they can't and they can't retire any more than 8,000 people a month from the government because it takes too long.
Oh, I tell you, we're doing great, guys. We're doing absolutely great. No problems here. All sunshine and lollipops for us. But anyways, moving on. The next one is that there was some breaking news here that CIA director has invited Elon Musk to the CIA on Monday to discuss Doge. I wonder what in the world he'll find in corruption and over government expenditures and fraud and abuse at the CIA. I couldn't think of a single thing off the top of my head. Could you?
Well, I think they're probably going to find that they have more money than what they were budgeted because they make a lot of their money off of drugs.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. So that's crazy. Here's another one while we're on the Doge subject. Doge for the win, confirmed. Doge says USAID gave Chelsea Clinton $84 million, which was supposed to be, it was to go to for relief in Haiti. This is the Clinton Foundation, and their daughter's involved in it too. If you guys want to know how much money was funneled through Haiti in the name of aid by the Clintons and the Clinton Foundation, go read the book Clinton Cash. And I forget the author's name, but it is eye-opening what happened. Line items show 3 million of the 84 million was spent on Chelsea Clinton's wedding, and wait for it, 10 million to purchase a luxury mansion on our dime. You just can't seem to get away from the Clintons, can you, S2?
Well, and I also wonder how much of that money was spent to traffic children out of Haiti.
For an island owned by a certain Mr. Jeffrey Epstein?
No, it was actually done through an adoption agency in Springfield, Ohio, if I remember correctly.
Wait, the same Springfield, Ohio that all of the Haitians went to? That's interesting.
I was going to say, isn't that interesting?
Yes.
And Governor DeWine covered it up.
That guy, ever since COVID, that guy has been an absolute, well, before then, but COVID really exposed a lot of his issues in a lot of ways to a lot of people on the national stage. But anyways, moving on. So I don't know if this has been covered this week, but there was an issue on a subway where a woman chased a guy. It was accosting a guy in a MAGA hat, and then chased him off the subway and ended up face planting. So watch this video because it's they've identified the woman, but it's also just kind of funny to watch.
That's why he won. People like you. That's why he won. That is why he won, because of people like you who need to stop and get him there. Bro, this is very chill, bro. You're okay with that? He's a racist. I'm okay. How can I be racist, bro? If you fucking voted for Trump, you're racist. He's a racist. How can I be racist? No, he's not racist. Doesn't watch the news. You realize he was a Democrat. Highly educated. Oh, are you? Then why are you wearing that hat? Only I don't know how long the Democrats have been running New York since who knows how long. But then Trump comes in and just fixes it. Well, this is my style. I hope you enjoy the hat. Oh,
Oh, and the face planter has been identified. Just these people are special. Just
Who is
special.
it? Who is it?
The name of the woman is let's see, it's here.
Testanero?
Alberta Testanero. She's a 55-year-old that became radicalized, according to her former colleague. Testanero works in luxury brands, including Tiffany & Co., Coach, Bergdorf Goldman, and Kate Spade. An experienced team leader, have a keen understanding of the relationship between the corporate strategy and the creative vision, her LinkedIn says.
She probably works at the counter, I'm guessing.
It's just amazing to me. Amazing to me. Our next subject, I got a couple slides on this one. This is Brad Schimmel. Schimmel. Okay. Sorry, I've heard both pronunciations in going through this stuff. So I picked one, I picked wrong. So Brad Schimmel, a former Wisconsin attorney general and current circuit court judge, is highlighted in his record of public safety, a key issue in the state Supreme Court race. Schimmel has built his career on prosecuting crimes like human trafficking, elder abuse, and internet exploitation. According to Schimmel, sorry, I keep on saying it the wrong way. The outcome of the race will determine whether Wisconsin core values are protected or rewritten from the bench. This is a big
That's the one
race.
that that's the one where we're talking about everybody needs to get out and vote this
Yep.
week.
Yep. And let's watch this video real quick, because this kind of spells out what's in play. This is something, and Stu, you probably agree with me here, this is something that the right is horrible at. We focus on the Supreme Court almost solely, and we don't focus on the low-level courts. The low-level courts, the circuit courts, we only really have 2 circuit courts that are halfway decent in the entire country. Like, most of them are leftist.
That's why we're getting screwed right now in the lower courts.
Yep, absolutely. And this is the problem for the Republicans. Vote for the president for the Supreme Court, and we don't talk about the lower courts. The lower courts are really where a lot of this is decided, because it takes quite a bit of horsepower to get a case up to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, the Supreme Court doesn't really matter. They can pick and choose whatever cases they want to hear, or they kick it right back. And then 90% of the time, they kick it right back down to the lower courts.
Right. The lower courts have more judges on them. They have panels of judges that see these cases. And if you get a leftist panel for, say, a 2A case, it's going to get...
You're screwed.
You're screwed. And that's what we see all the time in the 7th Circuit and the 9th Circuit. There are good judges on all of these circuit courts. Absolutely. It was like the judge from the 9th Circuit Court. We did the thing on the video where he's doing the breakdown of his AK and his handguns. Dude's amazing. But for the most part, they're stocked with leftists. And this is something you can thank Obama for. And weak-kneed Republicans like George W. Bush putting people that aren't really conservative or even constitutional, but are more political figures. And this is the problem. But let's watch this video real quick and get an idea of the magnitude of this.
I'm Eric Cox, reporting at a Wisconsin library that's doubling as an early voting site ahead of what's being billed as the most important American election of 2025. It's a race that will help decide whether the Wisconsin Supreme Court will lean either liberal or conservative moving forward. Voters here are choosing between Republican-backed Judge Brad Schimmel or his opponent, Democrat-backed Judge Susan Crawford. And this election is garnering a lot of attention and funding from a lot of billionaires, including Tesla CEO Elon Musk. Why billionaires are getting involved in a local state election in the Midwest, you might ask? Well, analysts are telling me that a lot of hot-button issues are on the line. Things like abortion rights, voter ID laws, even a couple of U.S. congressional seats are all at stake here. And when things are all said and done on April 1st, I'm told it's estimated over $100 million could be spent by the 2 campaigns combined in this race, a new national record.
And the stakes are high. The middle thing that he's talking about with voter ID, that's a big one in Wisconsin, because Wisconsin's a swing state. Wisconsin is a very important swing state in national elections.
There was something that happened in Wisconsin recently so right now they have a liberal Supreme Court.
Yep.
If Schimmel gets elected to it, then it flips back over to red.
Yep.
So what the Democrats did, well, you've got the slide right there.
I put it up as you started talking about it. Perfect timing.
Yeah. They made drop boxes legal, and they lost a Senate seat over that. Drop boxes being legal means that they'll have the ability to cheat in every single election going forward.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in Wisconsin and you're in this audience, you need to be having some conversations with people. Drag 2 people to the polls with you. It'll take you 10 minutes to vote.
Yep. Do what we did back in November of last year, guys. Overwhelm, make it a cheat, a fraud-proof majority, and win. Because I truly believe Wisconsin, at its heart, is a conservative state. They have been infiltrated somewhat, and a lot of this is always the problem with Republicans, is we're always short-sighted. And it's something we've got to change in our mindset. We've got to play the long game. We've got to get involved in these local elections, in these state level elections, and stop worrying about who the president is necessarily, because change comes from the bottom up in this country. Always has. And it does not, and that's not going to change. But the problem is if we keep ignoring these local and state level elections, we're going to just basically sit out all of the fourth quarters that we need to be playing in.
Yep.
So Anyways, so this is actually pretty cool though. Breaking Americans are surging to help reach Wisconsin voters. Scott Pressler is an absolute rock star. He has basically gone into Wisconsin and trying to do what he's done in Pennsylvania. He's basically over 4 to 6 years, he has flipped Pennsylvania to a red state, or basically a red leaning purple state. But his app is now number 27 in the App Store. It was 359 last week. Over 70,000 Western Wisconsin voters have texted today, downloaded the app, and now text more rural voters. Brad Schimmel can win if these people turn out on Tuesday. Let's go. We'll go to this one as well. So this is actually, the persistence, if you see this on X, that's Scott Pressler. Victory, we did it. We texted 71,000 Western Wisconsin voters, and their votes for Brad, courting their votes for Brad Schimmel. This new campaign is uploaded, and we included red rural counties according to the entire state. You want it? Come and take it. So we've got some powerhouses in there trying to push Brad over the finish line, and let's pray all of us that are not in that state. And if you know somebody in that state, even if you're not in that state, you know somebody, call them and tell them that this is a very, very important thing. And I employ everybody to do that. So
all of this does go upstream if he doesn't win.
Yep. It's what they would call a bellwether, and it changes a lot of things. So, okay, Charlie Kirk talking to a commie. So let's watch this 39 seconds.
You believe that being here in America here is a right or a privilege?
Is a right and a privilege.
You have a right to be here?
Yes, I believe anybody has a right to movement to wherever they want.
So you would get rid of all borders?
Yes.
So when you land from an international flight at JFK Airport, no passport checks?
Nope.
Okay. Thank you for so bluntly telling us your view.
I'm a dirty commie, so yeah.
Yeah.
At least he admitted it.
Yeah. Well,
that's what our education system in these universities is pumping out, guys.
Yep.
Pull
and
your
that's why
kids.
all of them need to have all of their funding pulled.
100%. 100%. Teaching ideologies that are basically cancer to the United States. This is interesting. So Trump has proposed a new policy on buying American-made cars. Let's listen to this really quick. Minute 5.
If you build a car in the United States, and one thing that I just spoke with John Thune about, I just spoke to Mike Johnson about, Speaker. We're going to do something that has never been done in this country before. I'm very proud to say it was my idea. And so sometimes a simple idea, they say, how'd you think of that one? It's so simple, it was never done. If you buy a car in the United States that's made in the United States, if it's manufactured here, when you borrow money, if you borrow money, you have interest payments. We're going to let you deduct the interest payment for income tax reasons. And I think that's going to more than pay for itself. I think people are going to be, they've never had a deduction. You know, deductions are supposed to be for like rich people, and it's unfair to have that. But rich people are, I think I know more about deductions than any human being on earth. But, you know, the truth is that people that are middle income people that buy a car and actually have to borrow money, they're going to now get an interest deduction on their car if it's made in the United States. If it's made someplace else, that won't take place.
What do you think about that, S2?
I have mixed feelings about it, and I'll tell you why. Because having worked as a contractor for most of my career, he kind of this was something I didn't agree that Trump did. He kind of shit the bed with his tax breaks on the last thing that he did, because what he did is effectively for us contractors that were spending money to be able to work, he made it so we could no longer deduct those expenses. So I have mixed feelings on that. I mean, it's kind of like, okay, you can take a car. If you buy a car and you drive that car for your business, you can amortize that car over time and you're still deducting the equivalent of the interest payments. I don't know really what to think about all that.
Yep. Yep. The one thing I will say is he's trying to figure out ways to give us deductions and things like that. And I think that, Trump rolls this stuff out, and he's an idea guy. There's no doubt about it. He's always trying to come up with an idea, and I think that the intention's good. But as you say, some things get lost along the way or missed along the way when these kind of things roll out. So, time will tell. I just thought it was an interesting thing to include. Here's another one. Psych meds are skyrocketing, and so are misdiagnosis. Patients are getting meds thrown at them without proper mental health evaluations, and the numbers are staggering. Antidepressant use has skyrocketed since Prozac hit the market, with nearly 1 in 5 adults now on a psychotropic drug. But here's the kicker. Most prescriptions come from non-specialists who barely consider therapy. Pharma's aggressive marketing and off-label prescribing aren't helping. Experts say it's time to rethink how mental health care is handled before we medicate the whole country.
Oh yeah.
And we could do, in fact, maybe one of these episodes on a Sunday night, maybe we'll do an entire episode on psychotropic drugs and the effects that they have on, you guys know that almost every mass shooter in history was on psychotropic drugs. Every school shooter, definitely.
Yep.
In the last decades. It's
and
insane.
I can tell you firsthand, this goes back to the medical industry relinquishing their control over the prescription of drugs.
Mhm.
What they'll do, what ends up happening a lot of the times is, I'll take kids as an example because I have firsthand experience with this. You'll have somebody that doesn't have a medical license, like not even a medically somebody that went to medical school to be a psychiatrist or a psychologist, pardon me. They're not doctors. They don't have MDs on the tack of their name, but yet they have the ability to prescribe these drugs for kids. And 9 times out of 10, they prescribe the wrong drug the first time. Oh, that didn't work. Let's prescribe this one. Okay, well that didn't work. Well, let's prescribe both of them for them and see what happens if we use them both at once. They play a guessing game until they think they get it right, but what they're trying to do is they're trying to basically dumb down the kids with the drugs, and whether they know they're doing it or not. I saw it with my son. When he got off of those things, after I told him the truth about it, he got to an age where he could understand these things. I sat him down and I had him a talk about these things. And I said, I saw what you were like before you got on these. I see what you're like during them. And I've seen what you're like when you're not on them. Because I refused to give them to him when he was with me. Our family was divorced. But I refused to give them to him on the weekends when he was with me. And he was a completely different kid.
Yep.
And I said, I saw the difference. I said, you can make this decision yourself right now to get off of these things.
Yep.
Because it was just, I saw the whole thing. It was a guessing game. And unfortunately, I was locked in with the family courts saying I had to go along with this.
Yep. And that's where a lot of this ends up being. And it's an insane thing to think about, that doctors, like, if you have a good doctor that you can trust, hold on to that doctor. Doctors nowadays are essentially drug dealers. They're no different than the street drug dealers because they are subsidized by Big Pharma. Big Pharma it goes into these doctors' offices. It gives them money. It wines and dines them. If you want to see something that's crazy, there's a Netflix show called Painkiller. And it's about the Indiana drug company that did what was it? It was the big painkiller, Oxycontin, I think it was, that it eventually ended up being made illegal. But it shows the downward spiral of people that went on that and then just basically became addicts. And then it shows how the pharmaceutical companies would go into these doctors' offices around the world. They'd send pretty girls in. and they'd wine and dine and do whatever they needed to get the doctor to start prescribing these drugs. That was in like the 1980s, 1990s. And it's gotten more and more sophisticated over time. If you wonder why big pharma, why we're sicker and more medicated than we ever have been in this country's history, and big pharma is making more money than they ever have in this country's history, well, those two things go together.
It goes a lot back to the regulators too.
Yep.
The regulators get paid off in one way, shape, or form. Like for instance, I think they just had what was it, the director of the FDA that quit and went to work for big pharma. He had a cushy job waiting for him once he got out of there, and that was his promise to push the I'm not even going to mention the name, but pushing a lot of these drugs through their regulatory channels to the point of where it's like the V word usually would go through a 6 to 10 year clinical trial, and yet it was pushed through in a matter of months.
Yep.
No, it wasn't actually pushed through. It was already ready to go before they had released it. They had to get the FDA to push it through under an EUA.
Yep. Yep. And honestly, what I consider one of the biggest failures of Trump's first term was the pushing of the V. Very, 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 very almost made me very, very skeptical of supporting him again. If I'm completely honest, I think he got bad information overall. But man, yeah, that was. I think historically we're going to look back, and that's going to be one of the worst crimes against humanity ever. Moving on,
anyway.
and this, huh?
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyways, this is Tom Fenton. Tom Fenton does great work with Judicial Watch, and this is him talking about the voter rolls. Now, this is a big thing, and this kind of ties back to what we were talking about with Wisconsin, because I know with Wisconsin, and just kind of like some overall overviews of just regular laymen looking at their voter rolls, I could find tons of dead people that have been dead for decades still in the voter rolls. And these states can end up using them if they're in the wrong hands. But let's talk about, or let's watch this video. It's a minute 4.
Dirty names that shouldn't have been there, should have been removed, were only removed as a result of Judicial Watch's litigation and other legal action. Judicial Watch is the national leader in using the National Voter Registration Act to require states and localities to clean up the voter rolls. We've done it in California to the tune of 1.2 million names, New York City, nearly 450,000 names, here in Washington, D.C., Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Kentucky, Colorado. We have a lawsuit in California ongoing, a lawsuit in Illinois ongoing, a lawsuit in Oregon ongoing. So the states are supposed to be cleaning up the rolls in a regular way, and they're not doing it. And it's not a high bar. They just have to take basic steps. And Judicial Watch's litigation has led to the removal, just in the last 2 years or so, of 4 million plus names from the voter rolls. Dirty names that shouldn't have been there, should have been removed, were only removed as a result of Judicial Watch's litigation and other legal action.
We need a nationwide forensic audit of the entire voter rolls in every state. This is like, it's got to go to the depths of like verifying every single name.
That was the subject of raccoons. I was on the panel last night with Jeff O'Donnell last night. He had a guest on, Dr. Andrew Paquette. And that's what he did, is he went and he analyzed the voter rolls, and he was recognizing algorithms that were used in the voter rolls. And interestingly enough, a couple of days ago, I got into a skirmish with one of my state politicians here, and he said, saying something about North Carolina, blah, blah, blah. And I said, you better go check those voter rolls. And he goes, oh, well, the NCSBOE they've cleaned up those voter rolls. And he said, now we're outpacing Democrats with registrations. And I said, oh, yeah, well, if that's the case, then why did we end up with a Democrat governor?
Right.
And then I had another one that showed up on the later on, and he said something about, and we're going to get our next senator installed. And I was just like, Dude, did you just say the quiet part out loud?
Every once in a while, the mask slips. It's pretty crazy.
It's like, could you be any more obvious?
Right. Here's a quick one I wanted to throw up here because of one of the main subjects I talked about last Sunday was the Illinois homeschool restrictive law that they're trying to push through. So here you go. 53 Illinois schools can't teach a single student math. 30 can't teach reading either. State data reveals that staggering failure. Not one student is proficient in math in 53 Illinois schools and zero reading proficiency at 30. These aren't anomalies. They're publicly funded, fully operating schools, many labeled commendable by the Illinois State Board of Education. Spry High School spends $35,600 per student. Yet not a single kid can read or do math at grade level. At Sandoval Senior High and Ralph Ellison Charter, it's the same story. Zero proficiency, yet top tier ratings. This isn't underfunding. It's institutional collapse. Of course, Trump is right to shut down the Department of Education. So just further evidence. They're going after homeschoolers with these laws that they're trying to implement. And the schools, the state-funded schools, the public schools are grossly inefficient at teaching kids basic reading and math. It's sick.
It's going to go back to the days of slavery when you have to teach your kids underground.
Yep.
I mean, if they keep that up, because I would dare go in and challenge these Board of Education people to see if they can read or if they can do math.
Right. Well,
they certainly can spout off commie talking points all day long.
Absolutely. And this is the thing: is it's not about education; it's about indoctrination. I guarantee all of those kids will tell you what the LGBTQ stuff is. I guarantee you that. Because it's Illinois, and a lot of those states are upstate, or a lot of those schools are upstate. So yeah, that's the reality of it. And full disclosure, you guys know my wife is a high school teacher. We don't see as much of this ideology pushed heavily down here because it's a very red area down here. Like we have ignored a lot of things coming out of the state level. Even during COVID, a lot of that stuff was ignored. We went back to school before the state actually allowed. So a lot of things like that. But anyways, and we just got a couple more slides in chapter 2, but this one's really crazy because it goes to the degeneracy of just the everyday person. Here we go. I'm fine. Just being on the floor.
I actually had to watch this twice to see what it was that I missed, and I was like, "Oh,
Yep.
really?"
Yeah, dude's just sitting there with his dangling out, peeing in the floor of an airplane.
Damn.
Degenerate. Here we go. Is this art? I don't think Retard Finder actually agrees that this is art. He says this is peak retardation. What do you guys think? Do you guys think this is, after watching this video, I want you guys to let me know. If you think this is art, put a 2 in the comment. If you think this is peak retardation, a 1. Let's watch. 38 seconds.
Looks like activity day at the asylum.
I don't know where people get this stuff, but hey, this just goes to show you that things just haven't gotten bad enough for leftists yet. Anyways, speaking of art, this is kind of fun. You guys, some of you guys may be aware that there was a Snow White live action movie that came out. It failed miserably. Fun fact, the new Snow White is only made $100 million in the global box office so far. The production was about $350 million. And that's not including marketing, which in film, I'm pretty aware of film. I've got some friends that do film and stuff professionally. Marketing is typically like as much as the budget of the movie. That's pretty much just standard. They spent crap tons of marketing on this. So marketing budget, which is a big budget. Hollywood films are upward to 100% of production value. So that's exactly what I just said. Essentially, so 350 million would be 700. So it's made 100 million out of 700 million spent. Womp womp. But hey, Disney's fine. This is Disney currently. Snow White flops. Zegler is cringe. Millions.
No, it's fine.
This is fine. This is fine.
Tax write-off.
This is really good. It's a little bit of a long clip. I won't play the whole thing, but Tim Dillon on Rachel Zegler. If you guys don't know who Rachel Zegler is, she's the not white girl that Disney decided to put in, and then they kind of shoehorned in the story that the reason she was called Snow White was because she was born in the snow, not because her skin was white, like the original movie says. But that's racist. So let's watch this real quick because I think it goes to how fed up people are with this woke culture bullcrap and the television shows and movies that are coming out.
Mutual investment in it. Part of the problem is that they come up with these movies like Snow White. They ruin the movie. And then you have this bitch. I mean, these are when actors and actresses talk, you realize that they're the biggest losers in the world. Now, the reason that we can tolerate that is because we don't know that. They read words written by other people, and all of their appearances are carefully managed and choreographed. But when they go off book and they start telling us who they are, we realize they suck and we hate them. And that's what's really destroying Hollywood. Sure, there's a million reasons, but the biggest thing, these people, when just given the chance, completely fuck everything by talking. And if they would just shut their mouth, no one is asking these people to talk. No one is pleading with them for their opinions on anything. No one cares. But they feel compelled because they're watching the people on the internet talk and get a following, being authentic, or being themselves, or being some version of themselves, or whatever.
Let's stop it there. I think he's absolutely onto something. We don't really care. And they think that we should care. And that's the reality of it. And that's why Hollywood is losing money and stuff that was moneymakers even, 7 years ago, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Well, first of all, they brought in a bunch of woke crap. And full disclosure, I enjoy entertainment. I like to be able to kind of sit down, relax, and watch an entertaining movie. The last few years, I've caught myself going back and watching movies from the 90s, the 80s, the 60s, the 70s, because they're better movies. They actually have stories. They don't have a bullcrap ideology intertwined into a story that really just needs to be a story. And that's the reason that you're seeing Hollywood just hemorrhage. My question is, when does the money actually run out? Because nobody's going to see these movies anymore.
It's always politics.
It's true. It's true. Oh, very true. So that is it for chapter 2. It's obviously very broad subjects. That's what we normally do. But we're going to roll into chapter 3, which is where we start having a little bit of fun. And I've got some really great stuff for you guys. So we're going to go right into chapter 3. And I will say this. Annie, you're right. 1883 was a very good show. I still see a little hints of the woke in those shows. It's somewhat tolerable because the show is actually well written. So yeah, but overall, I've enjoyed that. We're actually watching 1923 right now. That's about the only shows that I'm watching right now. So anyways, moving on. So this is a good one. Let me reshare here. Oh, what happened here? Well, I can't find my.
Come on, John, get it together.
My goodness. Hold up. Had all these
If I
open and
could
I've got
help
the wrong stuff open here.
So hard to find good help these days.
It is very hard. Very hard. Yeah. My apologies, everyone. Give me 2 more seconds here. Here we go. When you commute aggressively. Here we go.
Who can say where the road goes, where the day flows? Shake that white side of the water, put it up, with it, watch it, loose with it, watch myself, that roof,
All right.
If only I could do this. If only I could do this. Oh, yes. You guys are going to love this one. As soon as I get it backed up. Be gone, demon. Bro, how does this holy water affect me? Give me the water balloon and I'll drive.
Yeah, how you live it. 10 toes in when we standing on business. I'm a big stepper.
That again.
Standing on business. I'm a big stepper.
So good. So good.
Oh, man. Just give me a shot. Just give me a shot, coach.
And I think we can all agree on this next one. Me, the cool uncle dropped some knowledge on the youth. POV, I'm 11 beers deep at my nephew's birthday party. He's 6.
Our beloved republic is in the hands of madmen. This is a dark day, and I stand at a fork in the road. I can abide the law and surrender my arms to the Senate and watch the republic fall to tyranny and chaos. Or I can go home with my sword in my hand and run those maniacs to the Tarpeian Rock.
I think we're all the drunk uncle right now, aren't we?
Yeah, kind of.
This just in. This is what it's like to watch the agenda crumble. Here we go.
Eric swallowed.
And the part at the end was just perfect. Hey, white guys, all the white guys in there. Let's get a response from you guys. If you guys are worried about what this liberal lady is about to say, put a 2 in the comment. If you're not, then go ahead and put a 1. But she's got a very important PSA on this.
Friendly reminder, as a white American woman, yeah, I will no longer be dating white men. I'm looking for anything other than a white man. Okay? Just a heads up. Friendly reminder, as a
No problem, lady.
Yeah, that's what
Keep
I
on
said.
stepping.
And as a spokesperson for white men everywhere, I think I can say,
Keep stepping.
oh, here's a great one. Yeah. Let's see if this rings true.
The gay accent, that's made up. That's just peacocking.
I was talking to an anesthesiologist, and he said when gay guys come out of the anesthesia, they talk regular.
It is weird. I went to
It's
school
weird.
with a guy who talked like me and you, and then like literally came out of the closet, and he's like, "I've been gay my whole." I'm like, "Well, that was your secret voice too." You guys are all I don't
It's fun to talk
understand the
gay.
It is funny. I think it's their way of just saying like that way when they like, you know, if there's a cute guy at the table they're working, you know, they'll be like, all right, can I start you guys with anything? It's like, it's just his way of being like, I'm a gay guy.
Yeah,
It'd be
that's-
funny on a sitcom though, if it was 2 gay guys and then when they're in their apartment, they just talk regular
Hey,
to
what's
each other.
up?
Like, they don't need
Dude, pass me the Xbox remote. You want Pasta or you want what's ziti? You want ziti or linguine? All right, cool. I got Cubans. Hang on one second. Hey,
We're staying in tonight. We're beat.
I'm tired. We're gonna stay with the dogs. Anyways,
Have fun though. Get crazy. Have a
yeah.
shot for
Love
us.
Madonna. Wish we could go. Bye.
I've honestly said that for years, but maybe I'll offend some people, but I don't really care.
It's their secret language for our public identification.
Yep. It's peacocking. The guy actually says it there. It's like peacocking. So, speaking of like movies and stuff, as we were earlier, did you guys know how much the score matters in a movie?
Come on now, stop picking on Bruce Lee. All right, this is just not right.
The score matters.
This is just not right.
Yep. You guys will love this one. And I've been loving these videos that are popping up where they pop up comments in the middle of a video. This is great. We're going to get a lot of like probably angry things from YouTube on this episode because of all the music clips that I've shown, but that's fine. I'll cut them out later. This is really funny, and hopefully you guys can see the comments, but these guys are reacting to this video where this turban wearing dude is shredding on guitar, but it's really funny and slightly offensive. Eat turban. Need to go to the airport.
Gotta get the airplane's pretty. We're not very.
Down with the sickness.
Oh man.
Van halal. Some of it shred.
Oh.
Iran Maiden. Our hero.
Three tandoori's down.
Korean.
Grady McCurry.
Come on, man. You guys are mean.
Hygiene. That last one was great.
I'm almost crying every time I watch that. I just lose my mind. It's so freaking funny. Yeah. Anyways, in light of Elon Musk's and the Tesla terrorists, may I commit to you this meme?
She's back.
Yeah, that woman has gotten more traction for the last decade than just about anybody. So, and,
I know. It's like she should like get T-shirts made.
Right. Oh, and just a reminder: trans women are
non-existent.
Men, manly men.
Yes, I wouldn't say manly men, but definitely men. 100%. You guys want a throwback? Here's a throwback from 1997, the Drew Carey Show. And look who the guest is.
Wow, hot one, isn't it? Let me have a nutty buddy.
Oh my God, you're Donald Trump. Look at this right here on the street. It's Donald Trump.
Kind of weird, isn't it? Sort of like I'm human. Let me have a nutty buddy, please.
Oh, we don't have any ice cream.
Isn't this an ice cream truck?
Uh-huh.
So what's in the back of your truck?
Beer?
Beer in the back of an ice cream truck? What are you, morons?
No, we're from Cleveland.
Ah, you're from Cleveland. Okay, look, we just drove to New York on a kick to see the Indians play the Yankees. Now we're stuck here, okay? Well, I'm sorry to hear that. That I am sorry about. But you know what you do? Give this to the guy at the gate. He'll take you to my box seats. Use them, enjoy them, and welcome to New York. Wow.
Wow.
Thanks.
Thanks, Mr. Trump.
I'm going to go see the Star Wars trilogy. You'll probably still be here. We'll have a beer later.
I have to say, I
Just like
agree.
just like he's always been.
Yep. He hasn't really changed. It's the left that's changed. He's the same dude that we see every day. And honestly, by all accounts of anybody that's ever met him, a very generous man. So, yep. Anyways, we did get some footage of a special camping trip that Tim Walz and Beto O'Rourke, I didn't even actually know they were close. Apparently they're really close, but there is some interesting and breaking footage of their camping trip recently.
Okay, I've seen enough.
Oh, memes are fun.
Beto O'Rourke.
So this next one, it may disturb some people. I think it's hilarious. And I'll also point out, if you have a wife or girlfriend that has this level of sense of humor and is willing to do something like this, that's a keeper. Let's watch this. The perfect maternity photo shoot. 30 seconds.
That was disturbing.
Disturbing, but I mean, for somebody with a morbid sense of humor like myself, definitely. Let's not forget this, guys. What are the odds that Kyle Rittenhouse fires 3 rounds into a crowd of liberals and hits 3 pedos?
Well, he was only 5 feet away, so
it's true. But I mean, what are the chances of that? Kind of crazy.
Bingo.
Bingo. Here we go. Live looking on Europe with their new neighbors that have come in. Still a great movie. Team America, World Police. Really, really great.
Team America, fuck yeah.
Here we go. This guy is great, and I see him in the GunTuber world all the time. I don't know his name, but he does a lot of really funny stuff. I have to say I agree with him on this. I might actually include some other sections as well.
Your political system's so broken. Before we continue, if you could please point on the map to where you live. That's just a map of the United States. I don't live. Ah, you're close. This is a map of places you could live for me to potentially start giving a shit about your political opinion. And you'll notice whatever continent you're from, not on here. California isn't on there either. I am aware.
Exactly.
Your political.
There's a few other states I would include, but California is definitely the big boy. For sure. Okay. Finally, and this is our last slide. This is interesting. This is a new type of crotch rocket. 26 seconds.
Yeah, this is not going to end well.
Situational awareness, guys. It's that important. It's very important. Please always be aware of where you are.
Those same words were on the tip of my tongue.
That concludes our episode tonight. I want to actually go ahead, and we like to spend a little bit of a few minutes talking about some marching orders for you guys and making sure that you guys are staying connected and involved in this stuff. And first off and foremost, staying involved in your local and state level elections is paramount, especially in between national elections like presidential elections. We have said this ad nauseum almost till we're blue in the face, but just because we won in November does not mean that we have won the war. That was a big battle. That was a turning point battle, like a Gettysburg type battle. Guess what? After Gettysburg, the war went on 2 more years and a lot more people died. And that's maybe a bad analogy. We're not talking about killing people, but in all honesty, we have to kill ideologies and we have to continue to fight ideologies. And it's really, really important that we stay connected, we stay involved, and we stay aware, finding news sources that we can trust, finding people that we can listen to. And right here is a great place for you guys to join. And real quick, I'm going to do another shout out to our Patreon. Join the insiders on Patreon. Support this show on a daily basis so we can continue to give it to you. You guys have no idea how much work goes into putting these shows together. And it's a lot of work. It's a lot of research. And when you guys show us support, that shows that you appreciate what we're doing. So join today for $9.99 or $95 for the whole year. Get you the sit rep, get you the signal chat, get you when we start doing the insiders only streams, I'll get you access to those. That doesn't mean we're going to stop doing our every night stream, but we're going to add some stuff on for you guys behind that paywall so that you guys get a little bit extra value for what you are, for the money that you're giving to Survival Dispatch. It's really, really important. And, educate people that are willing to listen, people that are willing to have a conversation. It doesn't have to be preachy. Have conversations with people, like engage people that may not completely align with you, but that are people that are not going to turn you away when they find out that you have a differing opinion. And have a conversation. Be well informed. I know if you guys are watching this show, you are well informed, and use that knowledge to change people's minds. It's as simple as having a conversation in a cordial manner. Sometimes you're not able to do that, but I know I have, in my own sphere of influence, been able to have those conversations. So don't shy away from those personal conversations with people to try and enlighten them and educate them on what's actually going on in the world. Stay involved in your communities and your churches. There's a lot of threats out there. As I said, if you guys want to go over to our YouTube channel, we did a live stream yesterday. It's a great video to watch with Keith Graves, where we talk about the threats against churches and hospitals for terrorist attacks. Very, very informative. Lots of intel on that. And you guys go check that out at our YouTube channel at Righteous Savages. And we also have a Patreon, and it's all of our, or not Patreon, sorry. We have a Substack that we do a lot of, I write a lot of articles on the Substack for you guys to read. You can go over there, Substack, Righteous Savages at Substack, and subscribe. You just have to put your email in, and you'll get all of our content that we have. We don't actually put anything behind the paywall, but it's just a service that we like to give to people to give them a little bit extra things. So check that out as well. S2, I'm going to let you add on to what I've already said. Are you there?
I said the reason you're able to have conversations with people is because you don't hang out with stupid people. But anyway, yeah, I don't really have much more to add. The local state elections, extremely important. Other parts of it that are extremely important are your municipal elections. Most people don't even know when their municipal elections show up, but that is extremely important to your local government, and the people that you choose that show up on those things is just as important as any of the others, because that's what affects your day-to-day life.
Yep. Absolutely. 100%. Guys, it's been an honor once again. I love doing this for you guys and being here to meet up on Sunday evenings. And we're kind of getting ready for the week and have, some serious talk, some laughs, some fun. And we're going to keep doing it, keep chugging along. So we'll be back here tomorrow night. Chris Heaven will be hosting tomorrow night. And right back at the same time with the same quality. And until then, like, share, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you guys tomorrow. God bless America.
Hoorah.
What due diligence did you do?